Welcome to the AIPC interviews, where I talk to members of the Artful Eye Photography community, among others, about them. It is April 22nd, 2020, and on this episode, my guest was featured in the Shot on iPhone campaign for the iPhone 6 as well as the 6S, and is now doing more video work than anything. You may know her on Instagram and YouTube and elsewhere as the Storyographist. Welcome, Cielo de La Paz.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for having me here.
Well, so glad you had the time to do this. I mean, we have nothing but time, it seems, these days.
I have plenty of time for you.
Oh, that's good. I mean, I've been following your work for a while now, and I really like what you're doing with the video stuff. But we'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
Maybe give us a real quick story on how you got selected for the Shot on iPhone campaigns.
Yeah. So for a long time, I don't know if people have heard of the Project 365, where you take a photo a day for the whole year. And I basically did that I tried to do it for 8 years in a row. And I succeeded 3 of those years. But during that time, I don't remember which year it was, but I was taking a photo a day, and Apple found one of those photos and they really liked it. And then they asked if they could include it in their campaign. I didn't know it was Apple that approached me, by the way.
Really?
So I was like, yeah, it was this random name. And, I've had people approach me asking to license photos. So I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this one was a little bit creepy because they're asking me to sign an NDA. And I was like,
really?
Who asks me to sign it? Like, I almost didn't sign it. Luckily, I did.
That would have been the biggest mistake.
What a hassle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how they found me.
Yeah. So, and so the first photo you got selected with was in the iPhone 6 campaign, and that was the one with the red umbrella on a rainy day. That's a really cool image. And so, okay, do you recall what led you to take that photo? Was it just you saw your reflection in the puddle and thought, oh, that's kind of cool, or?
Pretty much, but that photo almost didn't happen. So I remember that day very clearly because it was the stormiest day in the Bay Area in the past 16 years. And the first time school was shut down, like everything was shut down. Wow. So of course, as a photographer, what do? You go out.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what we do.
You risk life and limb to capture what's going on.
Catch a great photo. I was disappointed though, because it wasn't as dramatic as I was hoping it would be.
Oh yeah.
So I was kind of walking home, and then I look down and I see the reflection of my red umbrella. That was probably the most exciting thing that happened. It was like, oh, look, cool reflection on the ground. So I took a photo.
Well, it's interesting that, twice that, it almost, that being selected almost didn't happen twice because,
right.
You almost didn't take the photo to begin with. And then you almost kind of ignored the request to allow them to use it, type of thing. So
yeah,
that's
so many things like could have gotten in the way, but I guess that photo was meant to be.
yeah, that's right. So then the following year, you had one of a young. Was it a little boy or a little girl in the grass, in the tall grass? Or
it was my son. Yeah, we were out in I think it was Halloween, and we go to this corn maze every year.
Oh, okay.
And so corn maze. Yeah. So we were just kind of, out in this maze, and like he looked cute, like as every parent takes a photo of their kid.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really cute. So I just took his photo, and then they liked that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with that one as much as I am with the one with the umbrella. So, in fact, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't realize you had 2 years in a row until I was just looking at some stuff here today.
And they used one of my videos as well. So that video was pretty cool. That was also, it's funny. You'll see my life is like one big random mistake. It's like, oh, like that video. I don't know if you've seen it. It's this. I'll tell you a funny story about that one. It's this ladybug. Okay. And
Yeah.
this is how that photo or that video happened. I was, of course, out hiking, taking photos, and I dropped my lens cap on the ground.
Oh,
So I
really?
go down to pick it up, and I see this ladybug. It's like, oh, how cute. And I had just bought one of those Olo clip macro lenses.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I slap it on my phone, and then I get a video of it really close up. So that's how that photo happened. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was going to be worth thousands of dollars later.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure I've seen that too. I mean, I try to catch all the campaigns and all the photos that are in them because that's my ambition is to be featured in that. And I mean, I don't know. Okay, now I know what it takes to be featured in it is to not even try.
I think it's a lot. I think the bar is definitely way higher now. I think I got lucky because it was early on and you didn't apply for it. They just sort of randomly found you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, and I look at the photos and I wonder like, okay, is it my editing style? Is it the content that I'm shooting? Like, what are they looking at? Is there anything that catches their eye? Like, I'm not trying to game the system or anything, but
right.
I just have to wonder if I'm, shooting the right thing that's going to catch their eye type of thing. But I mean, and I am who I am. And if I never get selected, then I guess so be it. So
you're just too good for them. That's what it is.
Well, if I ever got selected for that, I'd be done. I could just sit back and just rest on my laurels of being in the campaign. But I mean, I would never stop shooting. But
no, I think the clue is they're obviously trying to sell their phones, and they're trying to highlight the new features. So I don't know if you noticed the last one, it was all about the ultra wide because that was the new thing that came out.
Yeah.
And the night photos, but it's hard. It's a hard one to be in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm on the 10s Max right now, so when I'm gonna get the 12 or whatever it's going to be called. Hopefully when it comes out, and whatever the headlining features for that device, I think I should maybe concentrate on using that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then see what happens. But so now you're doing some video stuff. I mean, you've had from what I can see, you've had a pretty decent go of it with photography, like with concert photography and things like that with the big cameras. But I love photography. I still do. I mean, it's just hard to find time for it with video. And I think right now video is my primary thing. Yeah. And you've done stuff for Creative Live.
Yeah.
Now, is that iPhone stuff?
It is all iPhone stuff. Yeah. These days, everybody gets mad at me when I shoot with my regular cameras and I shoot video. Because I don't know, it's like, why are you shooting with a big camera? Like, it doesn't make sense. Where's your iPhone? It's like, oh, come on. I have to use my big cameras too sometimes.
Oh yeah. You can't let the dust collect on them too much.
Yeah.
Which is what I did, which is why now I don't have a DSLR anymore. Like, I mean, it just sat there, and eventually I sold all that stuff off. But so with the video stuff, one of the things that I'm really watching closely with you is the LumaFusion stuff.
Oh yeah, game changer.
Oh, it is. But I struggled at one point with the app, and I don't know if it was a glitch or it needed an update, or if I was just doing something wrong. But I could not find how to import photos to as media into the app. I think what I think I had to do is I think I had to uninstall it and reinstall it, and then the capability was there.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, because that's one of the
easier
things that you can do is kind of photos on your in your camera roll, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really.
I mean, I could see other sources but photos just never showed up.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there was probably a glitch in the system there.
Yeah, so that's why I just took it out and then reinstalled it, and then all of a sudden it was fine. So I don't know. I think it was a
Okay.
glitch, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
But
you've inspired me to use it more.
mhm,
I think I've
good.
put together two or three videos with it
Yeah.
entirely, and that's what I really like is being able to do it all on the device.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
I wish I had an iPad.
You do it on your phone? Okay, so you do just do it on your phone. I feel like I'm the only
Yep.
person that edits on their actual phone.
Oh no, I don't have an iPad because I use a MacBook Pro. That's my computer. I don't have a
Uh-huh.
desktop, but I can't because of how I have this. I can't justify getting an iPad. That I would love to have
Yeah.
an iPad Pro, but I just
Yeah.
can't justify it right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I
They're
mean,
so
this is
expensive.
portable. Well, they
Yeah.
are, especially for me in Canada.
Oh, right. Did they add on extra tax? Oh, that's terrible.
Well, we have our provincial sales tax or whatever.
Mhm.
Like we have 13% tax on top of anything we buy. But the change in the dollar, like I was just talking about this with the
Oh,
guys on Tiny
yeah.
Shutter last week. We were talking about the iPhone SE and how it's only $399 to start. Well, up here it's $599.
Oh, ouch. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, oh, it does. But it's just
Uh-oh.
it's just the exchange on the dollar, right?
Right,
And
right,
it
right.
it just is what it is. So I mean, for me, when I get my new phone in the fall, I'm probably
If
looking
it
at
comes
putting
in the
out about
fall,
2 grand.
actually, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I think it will. I really do.
I hope so.
Yeah. But anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah, I do everything on the phone itself. I mean, there's no web-based version of LumaFusion or anything. So yeah, it's all on my phone. And luckily I've got the Max, which is a little bigger screen. So it's a
Hmm.
little easier to work with. But um,
Nice.
what do you find any challenges of doing it on the device?
Not really, because I think, and I'm so grateful that LumaFusion designed it so that you can rotate it one way or the other.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
helps a lot. Depending on the task that I'm doing in my editing, I will rotate it one way or the other just to make it easier to access one control over the other.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's really great that way. Okay, so on the phone, do you use a stylus at all, or do you just rely
No,
on?
I use my fingers.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. And I have even edited a long video, like I think a 15-minute video on just my iPhone. And it's fine. And I think you can expand your timeline or, zoom in, zoom out. And
Yeah, yeah,
that's
I've
really
done
all that
that.
you need to be able to do. Yeah. It's not like I had crazy, layers. Once you do start having, say, like taking full use of 6 layers, then I think it's a little bit harder. But typically my videos will have maybe, like 3 layers of video, a couple of audio, so
Hmm.
it's manageable.
Yeah, yeah. Anything that I've done so far has been basically, you know, video clips and just I put it to one track of music type of thing.
Hmm.
I haven't gotten that involved in it yet, but I do plan on doing more with video. And I don't know, I honestly don't know what I'm going to try to do next, but it'll
Video is
definitely
a lot
be
of fun. It's a lot of fun. I think as photographers, I mean, generally will be better at it than somebody that's starting from scratch.
mhm.
So I think it's much easier to be successful with video if you come from a photo background.
Yeah. And so do you find, okay, when you first started doing the video stuff, did you find it was a little intimidating? Were you a little, um, shy about it or scared to do it or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the hardest one to nail for me was audio. And, photography being very visual, you never had to worry about sound.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're already familiar with lighting and exposure and all of that. So that stuff was easy. It was the audio that was really hard that I kept screwing up on. And I still do. But it was hard. And especially now I do all these vlogs. being in front of the camera was really hard. We're usually the ones behind, and you don't have to worry about what you say, what you do, so it was hard. It was hard transitioning, but I mean, I was really enjoying it though. So, I was very determined to become really good at it. Still working on it though.
But it gets easier as you go, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you start to learn things one at a time. So just like photography, you don't learn about shutter speed until you kind of nail just general exposure. So there are things about videography that you kind of figure out along the way, like pacing. Like when I first started out, like, what the heck's pacing? What does that mean?
So what is it?
Yeah. So pacing is basically just kind of the beat and flow of your video, and the emotion that you want to convey to your audience, and then you pace your video accordingly. And like your cuts, how quick are you cutting from, clip to clip? And then the music that you're putting behind it. So just that whole concept is fairly, I would say maybe even advanced. And, I definitely was not thinking about pacing the first, month.
Well, I mean, I really didn't think it was a thing until you just mentioned it. So, but at the same time though, as I recall, anything that I've done, which of course isn't much, but I mean, anything that I've done so far, I guess things have kind of paced along with the video, or the music has kind of set the tone for how the video transitions through and
right.
How the clips go from one to the next type of thing. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I think it allows me to tell stories better than I would be able to with photography. Although, I mean, there's a lot of value in photography, and I hate saying I like video over photo because I don't. I mean, I think they're both great and there's use for both of them. But it's easier to storytell with video for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a better experience for the viewer too.
Yeah. It's a lot more engaging. Yeah. Whereas like photography is like very still, and then it leaves a lot to the imagination, which is good. You're kind of like quietly looking at a photo, imagining like what else is happening in the scene and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you recently did a thing with Glenn Mulcahy. Is that his name?
Yeah.
He's that was you were talking about LumaFusion there.
Yeah. So that was Mobile Creator Summit just recently, and it was online because normally our community does get together somehow through conferences, and typically, we all fly to Ireland where his conference is, which is Mojo Fest. So this year, obviously, that couldn't happen. So that's why we had it online. And then LumaFusion and Filmic Pro, which are the two, I think, leaders in iPhone videography, were the ones that also helped host it. But I'm really glad it happened. And I think Filmic Pro, like if you start getting into iPhone videography, those are the two apps that you should download right away. Filmic Pro and Fusion.
Oh yeah. Have you used Double Take at all?
Oh my gosh, yes. I love Double Take. It is a favorite of mine because it allows you, for folks that don't know what it is, it's a product by Filmic Pro, and it essentially, if you have a phone that has more than one lens, which most of us do, it allows you to pick two of those lenses and record footage at the same time. And you can choose whether you want two separate pieces of footage, or you can have it kind of like picture in picture, one's big, one's large, or split panes, split view. So it allows you to be really creative. So you can imagine for somebody, if you're filming, you can have like a tight shot and then you can have a wide shot, and then as you are editing, you can kind of cut between the tight and the wide. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, I haven't played around with it yet. I have it installed, but I haven't played around with it yet.
Oh yeah, you should play around with it. Yeah, so good.
Yeah. And the nice thing about using two different cameras is you can use the front camera on one and the back camera on the other's input or whatever, or source.
Right, exactly. which
Yeah.
is handy if you, I mean, for so many reasons. I mean, you can get really creative with how you use it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how techie you are, but do you know if this is limited to a certain device and higher? Like, would it be like the 10 and higher or anything?
That's a
Or
good question. I think it is 10, 10s and higher, I believe. Yeah.
okay.
hmm
Oh, yes, yes. I think you're right because I think I did hear that one time. Um, so, and I guess I never put much thought to it because I have the 10s Max and it's almost as capable as the 11 and the
Yeah,
11
it's pretty
Pro.
close.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're shooting. Okay, so
mhm.
you're shooting with the 11 Pro, 11 Pro or Pro Max.
11 Pro, not the Max.
Yeah.
Although I wish I
Okay.
got the Max now.
Oh, yeah, for editing.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to be editing every day on my phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Had I known.
So you'll
Uh,
be getting the bigger one next time for sure.
yes, because the
Yeah.
reason, okay, I've had the Max ever since there was a Max. Every year I get the Max. And for
Hmm.
this year, for the 11, it's like, the Mac is kind of big and I can't use it well on a gimbal. So I'm just going to get the regular one this time. And lo and behold, I use the gimbal a lot less because the ultra wide lens on the iPhone 11 is amazingly stabilized. And
Oh yeah.
so now I have this small phone for no reason and I edit more on it. So that's a great, good choice.
Ah, well, you got to challenge yourself, right?
Yeah, my eyesight. Like I need to wear like those reading glasses just to edit on my phone.
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
So your video kit would include a gimbal, obviously. Which one are you using?
I have a couple that I use. I have the DJI Osmo Mobile 3, which is great. And then I also have that Zhiyun Smooth 4. And that one is great because it has the zoom wheel on the side.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that one allows you for better control over, zooming in and out, or, if you want to play around with focus, do like a rack focus kind of thing.
Hmm.
It's easier to do it because you have this, physical wheel that you're turning.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I have the Osmo 2, like the Osmo Mobile 2,
Mm.
and I wish I had the 3 because it looks like it's so much more versatile.
Yeah, not to make you feel bad, but I feel like if I had to pick, I even like the one better than the two because
Really?
because the two just goes out of balance so easily. Like a little bit of a, just kind of knock it and it just comes out of balance.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I
but yeah,
have moment lenses that I use too.
yeah,
So with the 10s Max, as big as it is, and put a moment lens on there,
oh yeah.
I have a counterweight, but sometimes
Mhm.
it's, like you say, it doesn't take much to knock it off kilter. So
Right. Yeah. And the 3, you don't even need a counterweight.
yeah, that's what I like about the looks of that thing is you can just position your phone anywhere in it and you're
It
good to go.
holds, yeah, it holds really well.
Hmm.
It's good.
Yeah.
I
So
think there's a bunch of them out there right now that you can get. Yeah. I think there might be
yeah.
a 4 coming out. So maybe hold off. I don't know.
Ooh, really?
I don't know.
Do you use do you have the little Osmo Pocket at all?
I do have the Osmo Pocket, but
Oh yeah.
just like any camera that is not your phone,
I know.
I
It
don't
just
use
doesn't
it as
feel
a
right.
thing. It's just not with me all the time. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you'd almost have to have a planned purpose for it.
Right. Like you have to remember to bring it.
Yeah.
You do.
Do you use any add-on lenses at all, like
Yeah.
anamorphic lenses or anything?
Yeah, I have the anamorphic lens. I have I think I have all of the moment lenses except for the macro lenses. And I have a Sandmark wide lens. And I got the Sandmark wide lens because it just clips on and you can put it on your front camera, on your front lens on your phone. Whereas
Oh yeah.
obviously all the moment ones just go on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the lenses are great these days. They're just amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I have all the moment lenses except for the fisheye one. Just never
Yeah.
really found a use for that one, so I didn't bother to get it. But I really do like the rest of them, especially the macro. It's so much fun. It's
Yeah, I
like a
don't
whole
have
new
a
world.
macro. I
Oh,
know
you
I
got to
should
get
get
one.
that. I should get. I know I haven't had a macro in a long time, actually. Yeah, okay, all right. Maybe I will. I think they were on sale for all too. Like there was Moment was having a sale. Did I just miss it?
Oh, I don't know.
uh,
I'm in their ambassador program, but I not
oh,
as active as
okay.
I should be. But oh gosh, I just got an email from them recently about a new campaign they've gotten to go, but I forget what it was about now. I shouldn't be
Okay.
saying that on the air, but
Yeah, it's okay. We won't tell anyone.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I think they did have a sale recently. It could still be
Yeah,
on for all I know, but yeah,
we'll see. Yeah,
they're fantastic. The quality's great, and
so good. Yeah, yeah. I just wish
now,
that I have to buy a case. Like I wish it just clipped on somehow, you know? Um,
well, they
yeah.
do have like a videographer's case, which is so slim you hardly even know it's on there. But then it has
Yeah.
the lens mounts on it, so it's
Yeah.
very non-intrusive.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It is, but the funny thing is I have this favorite case of mine right now, the Joby Standpoint, because there's a built-in tripod
Oh, neat.
in it, and that I first was like, this is a lame case because it's kind of bulky, you know. But now I never want to take it off because when I walk around, I'm always, putting those legs out and using the tripod. So it's such a useful case.
Yeah. And what
But I
kind is
wish
it again?
it's the Joby Standpoint.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if it's out. They said they were coming out with it. I got the early version, so the pre-release, so I could try it out. But yeah, it's a great case. Like I highly recommend it, especially if you're gonna capture a lot of like vlogging or video on the go. Um,
Yeah.
it's useful.
Well, I asked again because I want to I'm kind of taking notes as we go here. So I'll be putting
Mhm.
some stuff in the show notes about, some of the gear and things like that you use. So
Oh yeah.
um, I'll have to look it up, and if it's publicly available, then I'll definitely add it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's out for Android. I don't know if it's out for iPhone 11 yet.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Lots of
speaking of
gear.
Android, have you ever shot with one, or have you ever had an Android device?
Yes, I know, funny, but I do. I actually
Yeah.
taught at Google um, mobile videography,
Hmm.
and I had to obviously teach it on Android as well. But funnily, the Google employees, there was like half had iPhones, half had Androids.
Oh,
So yeah,
really?
yeah, I know. It's like traders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then they all got Android phones for free. They all got one. So it was funny. It's like,
Yeah.
why do
Yeah.
you even have an iPhone? Um,
Yeah. That's weird,
but
eh?
yeah, but I do have, I don't have the latest Pixel. I have the Pixel 3.
Yeah. Well, see what the 5 is when it comes out. I think it's probably going to come out. I'm not sure when the Pixels are released, but
Usually
I'm sure it'll
October.
be. Yeah, I was going to say sometime later this year in the fall. I think
Yeah.
they try to get it out the same time as the iPhone or close to it. So,
Yeah, I was
of course,
disappointed because I thought the 4 would have more. So I look for video features now, and if there's something that's
yeah,
really compelling, then I will get the phone. But I feel like Apple this year did a much better job with their features for video than Android did.
yeah. I didn't look at, or I didn't watch the Pixel 4 presentation or anything, but looking at the spec sheet and all that stuff, I mean, I was very, very underwhelmed, or
Hmm.
disappointed, I guess you could say, in
Yeah,
in what they had in that device. I mean, I thought they could have stepped that up so much
it could
more.
have, right? Yeah, I
And
know.
then
Yeah,
with the iPhone 11 Pro, and I say the Pro because the 11 itself isn't quite as robust for video, I don't think, than the Pro
yeah,
is. Um, I mean, I was blown away with the emphasis they had on
Yeah.
the pro.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, to have Chris Cohen come on stage
Uh-huh.
and do a little bit about Filmic Pro and things like that. I mean,
Oh,
uh,
I was so excited. I was so giddy. I was like, "Oh my God, Chris is on stage! Oh my God!" I was like, "What are they showing? Oh my God, do I have to what?" I was freaking out during the keynote.
yeah. I mean, I was so happy for him to be able to get up there and tell it
So good.
to the world himself, because I'm sure
Yes.
he was very proud of it.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know him personally, but I've kind of commented on some tweets and things like that,
Mhm.
and I wrote a big piece on First Light and put it on my Medium
Yes.
page,
Yeah.
and they you know they tweeted that out type stuff and stuff like that. It's
Oh yeah.
my most read article on Medium right now, but
Oh, I
um,
love that team. I have to say, like, I've been involved with a lot of, app makers, and
yeah,
I would say LumaFusion and Filmic Pro are some of the greatest, nicest like teams that just really, really care about their community. Like I
yeah,
haven't met, and I think that's why they're doing so well. Like you have avid fans like me,
yeah,
because I feel like they care and that they listen, and even if you're someone that's just they listen to you like anyone like that has a comment. So I just love the team, and I'm lucky enough to have actually met them, become friends with them.
yeah.
So yeah, really great teams.
Well, and as further proof as to just how much they do listen to people, with First Light, they first brought it out as a subscription model, but they had so much backlash from customers, I guess, that they
Mhm.
decided, okay, we're going to just make it a purchase and that's it. You own it.
A
They
one-time
took
thing. Yeah.
yeah. And anybody that subscribed, like I subscribed for a year so I can give it a good, good looking over.
Mhm.
Um, you know,
Did they
I
credit
own
you?
it because yeah, they said,
Oh
okay,
wow,
anybody that subscribed now just owns it.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, but I mean, I didn't mind the subscription,
Yeah.
for that particular app because
Mhm.
I mean, they're working on it. They're developing it. They're going to continue
Right.
to develop it, and that takes time and resources.
Right. Right. It takes a
So,
while to get it right. Hmm.
and for I think it was $8.99 US a year.
Oh wow. Yeah,
That's
that's
not a bad
nothing. Yeah,
subscription.
not at all.
Yeah, I think that's what it was because I think I paid something like $12 and something in
Hmm.
Canada. So I mean, it's two or three coffees at the coffee shop or something. So big
That's right.
deal.
I
That's how
know.
I
Some
look
people
at it
get
anyway.
really offended when apps cost anything, actually, or even if the app
Yeah.
costs over $10. I was like, you guys, it's like, I mean, if you were like, I don't know, like, so I teach a lot, of
Hmm.
iPhone videography,
Yeah.
and my students for regular classes, they'll pay $40 for a textbook, right?
Yeah.
Or more, and they'll buy several textbooks for $40. And I was like, I'm just asking you guys to download this app that costs, Filmic Pros, like, what is it, like $14, and it's a lifetime.
Yeah.
Um, so you got to put it in perspective. This is actually a deal. And even with LumaFusion, a lot of people say, well,
Hmm.
that's a lot of money for an app. But I mean, you can do so much with this app. And, like Premiere Pro charges how much, a month. And I mean, I just feel like you are getting more than what you're paying, to be honest with you, on these apps.
Yeah. And a few years ago, I started to take the course on how to write the code, like Swift.
Oh,
And
nice.
well, I couldn't do it
Okay.
because I work shift work, and that's
Uh-huh.
something that you have to be able to put in time every day to
Uh,
do. And I didn't have that time to do it.
yeah.
And it is so hard to do that.
Mhm.
I mean, these guys that write these apps, regularly, and then, they dissect the code looking for little bugs and things like that.
Yeah.
And, they put out the bug fixes and all that stuff. I mean, that
Right.
is no easy task.
No, it's not. It's not.
So if anybody's listening to this right now, please never hesitate to buy an app. And,
Yeah.
support these guys or these people,
Right.
because there's men and women writing this code, and
Yeah.
it's such an important part of what we do. Because if without them, there wouldn't be an iPhone,
That's exactly. I think
right?
without these apps, we would, yeah, what would we do with our phones? Like talk on them? Who does that?
Yeah, yeah. Who does that anymore?
Who talks on their phone? That's just ridiculous.
I think the only one I talk on my phone with is my father. Everybody else is texting, iMessage, whatever.
Right.
Oh, the times we live in.
I know.
And I mean, and I can remember what life was like before these devices. There's so many people that use them that wouldn't know what it was like to live without them. And
Yeah, I know. Dark ages.
yeah, yeah, there I am putting an age on myself again.
No, you're not that old. Like I
But
remember payphones, like putting quarters in there and using
yeah,
pay.
yeah, I can remember putting dimes in them.
Oh, dimes. Oh, I know. Okay, I don't go that far back. Sorry. Dimes. That's, oh my God. Just kidding.
Well, let's just say I'm in my 50s. So that'll give you an idea of how
That's
much
good age.
technology I've seen, advance through the days. Um, but
Yeah, it's such a huge change, I think, in the latter half. I mean, like, we're now in the 2020s, but
mhm.
versus, like we've got so much technology in such a short amount of time. I feel like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy. It's just so
Well,
crazy.
look at Y2K. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody was freaking out about their computers crashing,
I
blah blah blah.
know. Right.
But I mean, since then, look at
Yeah,
how far things have come. Like,
I
think of the
know.
cell phone you used
And to that,
on New Year's Eve, 1999.
I had a Nokia. It's like
Yeah,
that brick.
yeah, the candy bar phone.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and if you had Snake on it, you were laughing.
Well, Snake was the best. Yeah.
But then look what we got now. Like, the games and stuff that they have on these things now. It just, I
Oh my
mean,
God.
the processing power is
We
just,
already have AR now. It's insane. Yeah. It's cool. It's amazing. And that wasn't that long ago. It was like 20 years ago.
I
And look at
know. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, my son just turned 30, and he was saying how old he felt. And I said, listen, pal,
Oh my God.
I've seen things change so much more than you have. I mean, I can remember when he got his first paycheck from his first job at McDonald's, and
Uh,
what's this income tax they're taking off? I said, get used to it.
he's probably feeling old because he was born before the turn of the century.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. But
I know. Yeah. Not
so
old at all.
something I ask everybody is, I mean, we covered basically how you got started with it, and your favorite apps that you like to use in that. Usually, my final question before finishing up is where do you want it to go with your work on video, and like in this case we'll say video.
Mhm.
Like, do you have any ambitions for it?
Oh, yeah.
Anything that you haven't done that you want to try with it?
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this in that summit, but I'm working on a documentary shot with just my phone. And this one is more of it's a personal one. It's about my family. And I've been
Mhm.
wanting to tell it, and I had started it. And then, this whole pandemic happened, which doesn't allow
Yeah.
me to travel, and it requires some travel. But that's kind of what I want to do. One is I want to just do it with my phone because it's discreet and it's not intimidating, and the people I have to interview would be afraid of a big camera and not, would
Yeah.
just not be natural around it. But also, I just want to push and see what the iPhone can do. And I know it can do a lot. I mean, you've got
Mhm.
Steven Soderbergh, shooting full on feature films with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I want to know what I can do with it. So I'm not a director. I don't have the resources that Steven Soderbergh has. Can an everyday person, it's almost like this is my science experiment, can an everyday person who doesn't have that huge crew actually shoot a documentary / feature-ish film? Can they? I don't know. We'll see. So that's kind of
Yeah.
trying to prove that.
Well, I think with what you have for knowledge and resources, I think I think I could see it coming out quite well.
Thank you.
Getting family to participate, that might be a challenge.
Yeah,
Unless,
yeah,
of course,
yeah.
unless they all know about it and they're expecting it to happen. But
Uh-huh.
it doesn't sound to me like it's going to be something just off the cuff. Like when you did the summit, I submitted a question that
Mhm.
Glenn read to you. It was about um, do you pre-plan your video shoots and stuff?
Mhm.
And I think I messaged you and I said, oh, I was able to catch your answer just before I had to go into work.
Mhm.
Um, so maybe can
Yes.
you just touch on that for a quick second about how
Yeah.
you pre-plan for your
Yeah.
shoots?
Yeah, and let me, since we're just talking about this documentary I'm working on, so that one is pre-planned already.
Yeah.
I have the different scenes and different acts. Kind of, one is who I want to interview and the questions I'm going to ask them, and also the scenes I want to capture and the locations. So it's like, okay, like I have 3 countries I have to go to. One is Hong
Oh,
Kong, one is the
wow.
Philippines, and Australia, and obviously the U.S. because that's kind of just where everything took place.
Hmm.
But I have like a specific scene in Hong Kong, which is very key to the. I think it's going to open with this scene because this is kind of
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and it's through this tunnel, and I have a vivid idea of how I want it shot. It's going to be slow mo through this tunnel at this park, and it has to be on a specific day because that's when this specific thing happens. And then coming out on the other side, we see light, and then that realization happening as I walk through the tunnel. And the hard part is I need to be in this, so I need to kind of get help from people.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Um, but yeah, so like those kinds of scenes are planned. So I already have like a storyboard for that particular shot, like how it's gonna open, how the camera or the phone's gonna move, and then what's the ending scene of that. So that there's planning. There's a lot of planning in that.
Hmm.
And then for the interviews as well, how am I gonna set it up? Especially in the Philippines, like I'm not gonna bring a backdrop and I definitely want the environment of where I grew up. And so it's kind of like, what light am I going to bring? So enough so that it doesn't look unnatural, but obviously it has to be lighted well because the sensor is small on a phone.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of planning for that. But then there's also just more the casual vlogs that I do here. And that one, just a few scribbles of like, here's what I want to say. And then I typically use the same things every time. So there's not a huge list of gear. I just kind of just pick up the thing that I always use. So it depends on the size of the project. So it can go from zero planning to a lot of planning. Like my daily, my daily
Yeah.
posts on Instagram require no planning at all.
Yeah. Shooting from the hip, I call it.
Literally, yes, shooting from the.
Yeah. Okay, so when you do your planning, are you like writing them out on like in a notebook, or do you keep a digital archive of them?
Yeah, I have an iPad with a pencil, so I will scribble things out. But for this one, since I probably have to communicate it with other people for the documentary, it's typed out. But for the storyboards, for shots that I want it shot in a very certain way, then I will actually. I'm not the best illustrator, but I think I can draw enough that it will communicate. This is a tight shot, and
Oh, yeah.
these are the things
Yeah.
that I kind of want in it. Yeah, so I will storyboard very little, only when it's really important to like kind of communicate what I want to shoot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will draw and I will type out a document. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to make a point of doing that the next time I have something in mind I want to do, because I went out a couple of weeks ago just around my hometown here and shot some video.
Mhm.
And it was pretty much, let me think, most of it, if not all of it, that in the final product was done in the vehicle. And
Okay.
I'm kicking myself in the behind because I wanted to shoot 24 frames per second. I use Filmic Pro,
Uh-huh.
and I use the Moment anamorphic lens, and I
Uh-huh.
use my gimbal. But when I was actually driving, and I shouldn't be saying this, but as I was driving, I'm holding
You're
my gimbal
driving
up
and
and looking
shooting
out
at
the
the same
window.
time.
I was by myself.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I was thinking of putting the tripod up in the vehicle, but I didn't think that wouldn't work. But anyway, going that speed, like, I mean, just like 30 miles an hour or whatever, 25 miles an hour around town,
Mm-hmm.
with 24 frames per second, it was just horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was so, like, the footage was just like choppy because it was going too fast for that frame rate.
Yeah.
And next time I'm going 60 frames per second
60. Mm-hmm.
without even considering anything else, because I think I can output to 24. Could I not?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it'll still have that cinematic look or whatever.
Yeah. 60 is good. I mean, and then what's nice is you have more to play around with if you decide to slow it down. You can.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, if there's like any kind of shake, you can kind of, if something's slowed down, you don't catch it as much. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I had Film It Pro set for 24 frames per second. And it's just, kids don't do that. But that's something that pre-planning, I may have thought about that in the pre-planning stages, like, I mean, obviously I'm going to learn from my mistake on that one, but
exactly.
Have you found that pre-planning kind of eliminates any errors at all, or?
Yes, it does. Well, I think for me, the reason I pre-plan is to make sure I capture the shots that I had envisioned, because it's very easy to miss it. I mean, I think that comes from photography. You have a shot list. You don't want to miss the key shots. But what I do is when I do have time and I'm out shooting, I will shoot in different frame rates, because I never know. Like, I'll do 24 and I'll do like a 60 or a 120. Yeah. And then just so I have different sets. And, I think it depends on what you're shooting, I guess. You just need like a good 10 seconds of a clip, because you're not going to roll like 20 seconds of the same clip usually. So you just need like, 10 seconds in 60, 10 seconds in 24, and then you're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's probably the best advice I've had. Is shooting different frame rates, because I've never thought of doing that before. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's easy enough to switch.
Yeah. Well, Cielo, this has been a fantastic discussion.
It was great chatting. I love talking shop. This is great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Something different than what I usually put on the show. So I'm so excited that you were able to come on, and just stick around after we end off the show so I can get some links and things from you. Mm-hmm. But just in closing, then, tell everybody where they can find you online.
Yeah, I can be found on YouTube. My channel is iPhone Filmmaking, and I'm also on Instagram and Twitter with the handle The Storyographist. Cool.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and all them places. What the best way to find me is go to about.me/McMillan, and then that's all my links are. You can also catch me on the Tiny Shutter podcast. We do a bi-weekly show there about iPhone photography, and it's the longest running podcast on iPhone photography. It is 7 or 8 years now. I keep forgetting. And I've been blessed to been able to be on there for about 2 or 3 years now. And it's a lot of fun. And, take a look at the Artful Eye Photography community. It's at artfulipc.club, and you can find the podcast at artfulipc.com. And you can go back and listen to the other episodes that we've had. And gosh, I don't know what else. Cielo, it's been a wonderful chat. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I'll be looking forward to seeing this documentary when it gets finished.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Greg.